Welcome, everyone. My name is Rigel, and welcome to the last episode of Review and Preview. Now, I obviously wanted to record this on Sunday, but I only got back home around 1 a.m. on Monday. So yeah, obviously I didn't have a microphone with me, so yeah, this was delayed a little bit, but anyways, this is the last episode of Review and Preview because this series is mostly about national finals. So instead of doing a preview for this week, I'm gonna be taking a look at the final Eurovision entries yet to be released. As I record this, there's only two, and one of them is actually coming out tomorrow, but we'll get there. For now, let's get started with the review of the national finals that happened last Saturday. The first one was Portugal, and we had Festival da Canção, of course. These were the favorites: Claudia Pascual, Mimi Cat, Barbara Tinoco, Ivandro, and Edmundo Inácio. The interval acts were David Fonseca, Salvador Sobral, Mauro, and Jesus Cristo, I think. Sorry. I'm not Jesus Cristo. Yeah, there you go. And actually, I didn't watch the whole thing because it lasted until like 7 or 8 a.m. my time. So yeah, I wasn't gonna stay up for that. But apparently Mauro was actually, she was singing Saudade as she would, but she was actually apparently joined by the finalists of Festival da Canção 2022. You might recall that in Turin, she actually had all of her backing singers come from Festival da Canção. So yeah, this is not surprising, but it's also... yeah, it's just nice. So yeah, in terms of the actual results, it wasn't particularly surprising. A lot of people, including myself, was on Team Claudia, but a lot of people were also supporting Mimi Cat. She brought a song named Ai Coração, and Coração means heart. Ai doesn't mean much, I think. Mimi Cat with Ai Coração was getting quite a bit of popularity, both with Euro fans and with domestic audiences in Portugal. So yeah, like I wrote here, it's not really a big surprise that she actually won. She won both the televote and the jury. Second place was actually Edmundo Inácio, who I believe was second to last in the running order, and that spot has generally tended to be pretty lucky for Festival da Canção, but this time it wasn't his to win, I suppose. Edmundo Inácio with A Festa came second, while third place was called Claudia Pascual, and then after that Barbara Tinoco and Ivandro. So that was the top five, and yeah, so Mimi Cat is gonna sing Ai Coração in Liverpool. And one thing to note is that since 2021, of course, we've had English language songs from Portugal. 2021 was obviously Love Is On My Side. And then 2022 was Saudade, which, despite the title and one of the verses, obviously the song is mostly in English. So this changes that. Ai Coração is completely in Portuguese, and for the first time in a while, and actually upbeat track from Portugal, which is kind of rare because Portugal tends to be known for like ballads or otherwise slow songs or mellow songs. So yeah, this is an upbeat track from Mimi Cat, who will represent Portugal in Eurovision 2023 in the first half of the first semi-final. And speaking of the first semi-final, we also have Sweden. Like I said in the previous episode, traditionally the two last national finals of the season are Sweden and Portugal. Last year we had Sumva Kepnin, which was pushed late as well. but this year it was just Melodifestivalen and Festival Canção. So yeah, we had Mellow. Well, some people say Mellow, some people say Melfest. I don't really get it. If you're Swedish, please do tell me why people from Sweden prefer to call it Mellow. But Melodifestivalen. Well, I like to say Melfest, but yeah, Melodifestivalen took place on Saturday, obviously, in the Friends Arena in Stockholm. Now, there were two odds favorites, other than the, big one, which were Marcus and Martinez with Air and Maria Sur with Never Give Up. One of those actually kind of lived up to its favorite status, and the other really didn't. But yeah, the big one, the one that almost everyone was talking about, was Loreen with Tattoo. Like I wrote here, Sweden is first place in the Eurovision winning odds because of Loreen. And if I check right now, Sweden's actually at 40% winning chance, as opposed to Finland, which is in second place with 14%, and then Ukraine after that with 13%. And then after that is a huge gulf with Norway in fourth with 4%. So yeah, massive favorites for victory here, and I'll talk about that a little later. But let's talk about the show itself first. The running order was released a little bit after the semifinal. Jon Henrik Fjällgren opened the show, or full name Jon Henrik Fjällgren Arkenor, featuring Adam Woods, with the song Where You Are Savajan, I think. According to some statisticians, that is probably the longest name ever. So yeah, there's that. But the closer of the show was Paul Ray with Royals. Marcus and Martinez performed 4th, Maria Sur 6th, and Loreen 10th. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, this was also where Cornelia performed last year, and she was followed by Teos. And the interval act, I think there really was only one interval act, that was Danny Saucedo, who was ironically, or I think maybe they intended this to be the case, but Danny Saucedo was the runner-up last time Loreen won Melodifestivalen. So one has the feeling that SVT just brought him back just to have him see Loreen win Melfest again. So yeah, that's interesting. There was also this fun thing during the show, because I don't know how many channels of broadcasting there are for Melfest. Obviously, there's the main Swedish one, there's an English one, there might be others, but I don't know. But what I do know is that during the English broadcast, Rylan actually came into the booth. If you don't know who Rylan is, basically he's a TV presenter in the UK. He usually presents for the BBC, and he's also a huge fan of Eurovision. He's actually one of the regular semi-final commentators for the BBC. If you still have no idea, well, just go check the allocation draw. He was the male presenter. So yeah, Rylan was there. He actually flew over to Stockholm to watch Melodifestivalen in person, and he got an invitation from the English language commentators to join them in the booth, which he did for a while. Although it wasn't during anything important, it was just one of the recaps, the voting recaps. So yeah, that was interesting. He also mentioned the possibility of the UK, or specifically the BBC, possibly doing a national final, which I think could be interesting. But we'll see what happens, I guess. So yeah, that was the show itself, and no one was surprised when Lorraine won the whole thing, winning the jury and the televote. Although it is fun to say that if you look at her televote score, it wasn't really that high compared to some other past televote winners. Like, for example, Anders Bagge from last year, he got 90 points in the televote, while Lorraine only got 85. So make of that what you will, but nonetheless, she did still win the televote by quite a large margin. I think Marcus and Martinez only got around 60 something. Yeah, and so and also she won the jury very comfortably, with getting 92 out of 96 possible points, with all but one international juries giving her 12. FYI, the one that did not give her 12 was Croatia. Croatia gave her 8, so go figure. Yeah, so Lorraine won the whole thing. Marcus and Martinez came second. Third was actually Smashed into Pieces, which is very interesting because normally you don't see a whole lot of rock in Melodifestivalen. They don't tend to be received very well by the general Swedish public, I guess, at least in the Melfest context. But this was a very interesting case, and I think a very encouraging case, because this has actually come out to be one of the successes of Melodifestivalen 2023, because it's actually one of the most streamed songs from Melfest this year. So, not only that, but of course they obviously got a good enough jury and televote score to end up third overall. So yeah, that's very nice for them, I think, and maybe one day we'll see Sweden send a rock song. Who knows? And also, fourth place was Jan-Henrik Fjällgren, which, if you ask me, should not be that high, but I guess the public of Sweden like him a lot. And then fifth was Teos, and then sixth was Kiana, both really young. You might even start to call them pop stars. But I think Teos is only 17, while Kiana turned 16 on the day of her heat. In the same heat as Lorraine. So yeah, very young performers and very good performers, and eventually I really do think they will represent Sweden in Eurovision. But I got to talk about the other odds favorites, which was Maria Sor. Many people betting on the odds was thinking that maybe she would get a huge televote score because she's Ukrainian, and because she won Heat 2, people thought that maybe she would pretty much bulldoze the televote, but, well, she obviously didn't. She got 37 points. Again, Lorraine got 85, and only 10 points from the jury. Now, some people joked about this, and maybe the juries were instructed specifically to tank her. But I don't know, because I think she actually placed below Panatos, who only qualified through the semi-final. So yeah, that's something for sure. I think she ended 8th or something like that. Yeah, definitely not the favorite that she was touted to be. So yeah, regardless, obviously the main story of the week is Lorraine. Now, 11 years on from winning in Baku, Lorraine will again represent Sweden in Eurovision. And like I mentioned earlier, she's already a huge favorite to just outright win the whole thing. There's a little bit of discourse on Twitter, saying basically like, if it was anyone else singing this song, you wouldn't be rating it this highly. And well, that's kind of the point of Eurovision, is it not? So yeah, that's really all I have to say about that argument. But something interesting popped up just today, and I haven't had time to put it here, so I'm just going to talk about it real quick. Basically, she's being accused of committing tax fraud. Apparently, she registered an address in Stockholm, but apparently she doesn't live there, and instead lives in Gotland or Jotland. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, apparently she doesn't live at her registered address in Stockholm, which is apparently against Swedish tax laws. So some people are now accusing her of tax evasion. And this was this was parroted by press in Finland, which I must remind you is a favorite to win as well. So that's interesting, but upon reading it a little further, it seems there's not going to be a huge punishment if she does get found out to have broken the law. So yeah, there's that. We'll see what happens, but I don't think much really will happen. So yeah, Sweden, another favorite to win Eurovision 2023. And with that said, let's move on to the preview section, where obviously I'm not going to preview any national finals. We don't know much about, Festival i Congress yet. Although ironically, we do know something, which is that the director and host will be the same as this year, which could imply that the televote system will be here to stay. That's something for December. So let's not get into that before that. We have so many things to deal with. Like, well, for me, I have tons of things to do, but obviously around December is also Junior Eurovision. So yeah, for this preview section, I'm going to be looking at the remaining songs that have not been released for Eurovision 2023. Now, actually, one of them already have been released after I wrote this. Let's actually go for it real quick. That's Azerbaijan. They've selected the duo Tuval Tuvan X to represent them. They're a pair of brothers, full name Tuval and Tuvan Bachmanovlar. Yeah, they will be singing the song named Tell Me More, which they wrote themselves, which is nice. And it was arranged by this person, Nihat Aliyev. The music video was filmed on the 10th, and it was released as of recording this, yesterday, on the 13th. So it's not got particularly positive reception. There are people who like it for being cute. Personally, I think it's cute, but in a semifinal like semifinal 1, it practically stands no chance. And one wonders whether this is kind of an excuse by the Azerbaijani delegation to go back to buying songs from Sweden, or worse yet, they're trying to show up a guy who accused them of rigging the selection process for Mama Gama, which I don't think I talked about on any videos, but basically they're a group who was actually in Kunga Majika 2023, 22, I don't know. But there used to be a duo back when they participated in Kunga Majika, but they replaced one of the guys with 2 other guys, and then someone else, some other artist who accused them of accused the broadcaster of rigging the selection for Mama Gama. They obviously didn't select him, so they decided to select these two guys, Tuval and Tuvan Bachmanovlar, who are called, as an artist, Tuval Tuvan X, which, if you ask me, sounds like some crappy knockoff of Tesla or something. So yeah, that's Azerbaijan. The song is out. Not a lot of people are expecting it to qualify. But let's get to the song, which will be released tomorrow as I record this, which is Armenia. With Armenia, we have the artist named Brunette. I don't remember what her full name is, but they've selected Brunette. It was back in January, I think. And that is the song will be released on the 15th, which is to say, again, tomorrow, or in my time zone, today, because I'm recording this at around 1:30 a.m. On the 15th, because, time zones. Anyways, her song is named Future Lover, and like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be released tomorrow or today, depending on when you watch this, or it's probably already out, depending on when you watch this. But there were also rumors that the song will be named Heru, which means far or distance in Armenian. But and then after that, we got the official news that the song was going to be named Future Lover, and it will be released tomorrow/today. And there were other rumors. I can't confirm this or deny this because, well, the song is not out. But some rumors are saying that the chorus of the song is in Armenian, but we don't know that for sure. We'll have to hear the song to find out. But what we do know is that the song actually was probably supposed to be released earlier. But they repeatedly went back to the studio to improve it. And it was only on the 10th that they finally completed the actual track. What we do know is that the song is going to be kind of R&B and pop, because that's Brunette's usual style. And also, one thing I forgot to write here is that apparently the music video was filmed in the botanical garden in Yerevan, which is the same place where Dance by Nare was filmed. So yeah, that's interesting. We'll have to see what Brunette brings to the table. And speaking of Armenia, let's go to Georgia, because Iru Hachanovi is of Armenian descent, even though she's born and raised in Georgia. I've talked about Iru Hachanovi long enough. She won The Voice Georgia. She won Junior Eurovision as part of Candy Music. And yeah, like I wrote here, she is of Armenian origin, and, Hachanov is actually a Sovietized version of Hachanyan. So yeah, there's that. What we know, there's a few things I can tell you, but I won't. But what we do know for sure is that she's working with Giga Kuyanidze for her song. And also, the lyrics was written by herself, and also another person whose first name is Benny, spelled Beni. This Benny person was also on the lyricist list for, I believe, for Miriam Bigvava, who of course got third place in Junior Eurovision 2022. So yeah, it's pretty much the exact same team as I believe. So I think we can expect pretty good things. Some Georgian Eurovision fans have actually already heard the song, and they think is very good. So yeah, what we do know also is that it's probably not going to be a ballad. and it was going to be released earlier, I think. But there were huge anti-government protests in Tbilisi. So yeah, those have ended now. So I think, well, not I think, I know that they're gonna be posting the song soon. Which I didn't actually write here because I haven't updated this this blog post since pretty much Sunday. But what we do know now for sure is that Georgia will be the last country to release their song, and the song will be released on the 17th, which is this Friday. So, and also the track is named Echo. So yeah, we'll see what happens there, but there are very high hopes for Georgia this year. In fact, as of recording this, Georgia just reached 9th in the Eurovision odds, which might be honestly a new high for them. So yeah, that is really huge. A lot of fans, including myself, are hyped for this. In fact, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that my display name is Iru Hechinovi Charts and Updates. Even though I don't really tweet about Iru all that often, I do have some insider information. And since so few people watch these videos anyway, I'm just gonna say it real quick. Iru's song Echo will be staged by Marvin Dietmann. You might know Marvin Dietmann from Austria. He's one of the kind of resident stage directors for Eurovision. Alongside names like Sacha Jean-Baptiste and Dan Shipton. And Marvin Dietmann actually, I believe, appeared as the spokesperson for Austria in Melodifestivalen this year. He gave 12 to Lorraine. And he will be, in addition to his own country and Germany, he will also be responsible for staging Iru's performance. And also, apparently, in addition to Barcelona, which is public knowledge at this point, in addition to Barcelona, I've been told anyway that Iru is also going to go to Israel Calling 2023, which it isn't officially confirmed yet, but it seems pretty clear that it will happen because I believe Wild Youth and also Albina and Familia Kelmendi are also going. So yeah, those are, I think Iru's only going to these two pre-parties because they don't have a whole lot of budget. So yeah, Echo by Iru Hechinovi coming out the 17th of March. Now we're at this point. There really isn't much to talk about in terms of artists and songs anymore. So a quick little update on Junior Eurovision. Actually, before that, let me talk about the running order. Because on the 13th, which was this Monday, on the 13th, there a meeting of the head of delegations was held in Liverpool, and the host countries, because remember we have the UK and Ukraine, the host countries drew their running order slots, and it was revealed that Ukraine will be 19th in the final, while the UK will be, wait for it, 26th. That means May Muller is closing the show, while Dvorchi will be performing 19th. So yeah, there's that. I think both of these are very good positions for the two countries, although I'm still doubtful whether either of them could win the whole contest. So yeah, there's running order updates. I don't know exactly when we'll get the halves drawn for the Big Five, the other Big Five countries. But I think we're getting the semi-final running orders this month, although don't quote me on that. But like I said earlier, Junior Eurovision, we don't have much except the steering group was updated. A few more countries confirmed participation. and I think North Macedonia is participating as well, even though they're not going to be in adult Eurovision 2023. So that's nice to see. We still don't have a host city, which is kind of weird. Yerevan was confirmed for after Paris 2021, pretty much like 2 days after the event ended. Although I guess they're kind of focusing on Lazaha right now, so fair enough. And yeah, that's kind of it. And that's all the national finals of the 2023 season. Like this video if you enjoyed my commentaries, subscribe so you don't miss my next videos, which will probably include a what we know so far video for March of 2023. And I'll see you next time.